Welcome to the New York Weightlifting Podcast. I'm James McDermott, joined by Sara Soto and our special guest, Danny Casey. Danny
Hey guys,
is
yay,
the
thank you.
head coach and owner of the New York Weightlifting Academy, and he is our 2024 Coach of the Year, and we're going to get to know all about Danny. Danny, welcome. Sara, what's up?
Hello. Yeah, glad to have you, Danny.
I appreciate it very much. It's always good to spend time with you guys.
Yeah, we've Danny and I have banked many hours of podcast time during the lockdown. Yeah, there's some
We did two
there's
episodes
out there.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Ooh.
the majority of them are filled with our thoughts on the press out rule and where the sport should go. So it's about 2-3 hours of press out rule.
Seriously?
I should go back and look at that and see if my opinions, if they have changed or not. I'm sure they probably haven't, but
Yeah,
I want to know. I want follow up.
yeah, we could do it. I'll end it right now. Abolish the press out rule.
Boom. There we go.
Simple
I think we're
enough.
all in agreement, maybe.
Yeah,
Sara?
no argument.
It doesn't make sense otherwise.
Yeah,
I mean,
and
I can tell you firsthand, pressing things out is not easy. So if you can just lock it out, that's way more efficient. No one's going to be opting to press out. So
yeah, you're not going to do it on purpose.
No argument.
I never did. I always did, but I never did do it intentionally.
Yeah. Well, hey, this is let's send that to the higher ups that need to know. The New York WSO Coach of the Year said, just let's abolish the rule, and we agree.
I think that should have some weight to it.
It
Totally.
should.
Will it carry with the board, Sara, or do I got to?
I mean, you got to go higher. You got to go
really?
to the IWF executive board.
They don't count. We're gonna do this internal.
It could just be a New York rule. How about a New York rule? It's like, wow, they just really let you go for it in New York.
Could we?
I don't know about that.
That would be pretty awesome, though. I mean, it's still like a grassroots effort. See how it goes. Everyone loves the lifting. You're like, wow, look at this. These guys really know how to do it.
I mean,
yeah, Sara, how would that go if we were a rebel state and just every local meet, the state championships, and just even when we go out to national events, we just let it fly. Like whatever they say says, but we have our own records. How would this go?
You will not be collecting any more of those medals.
I was going to say, I think WSO funding would dry up quick.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, New Jersey would be looking pretty good.
Yeah. Yeah.
Exactly.
Pro press out and anti press out states. It just starts. But you see, it would be hard for us in the beginning until it caught on. You get Connecticut, all of a sudden we start to bleed into New England, and now you have an overwhelming groundswell of abolish the press out rule. How many WSOs would it take, Sara? What do we think before there was a big
majority?
I'm not getting involved in this conversation anymore. I'm done.
Yes.
Okay, all right. And you know what? As a bonus, we get Canada. All of a sudden, we've taken on an entire country.
I like where your head's at. I see the trend you're following.
Yeah.
And it's not doing us any harm, right?
No.
I just will go for it.
Yeah. Well, we've had Danny on for like 45 seconds, and we're already talking about revolution. I like it. Like it's just a nice. I think it only benefits everybody in the end when you can go out there and put your big lifts on, and it's whoever who hoists the heaviest weight overhead is the winner, no matter what.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, it's still commendable.
Yeah.
But I mean, not to digress too far, but if you go back, let's say 15, 20 years ago, the lifting was different then versus now, or at least the standard. So it's like, wherein lies the difference, or what changed rather to facilitate that?
Yeah. It kind of makes you think where we'll be in another 10 to 15. What else is going to change?
My guess is New York weightlifting is going to rise to the top. And there's going to be no other WSO that's capable of competing with us in every and all capacities.
I think so. And
in
the world.
It's a bold claim, but I think I can help facilitate and pull that off.
I mean, we had the championships of the year last year, so we'll just claim that one,
Yeah.
And there's video evidence, there's photo evidence, there's anecdotal evidence. It definitely felt that way. It felt very special. And we're doing a lot of great things in the state, including having, this new award of Coach of the Year. This is our second time, awarding it. And it was awesome to see the result of it and honoring our members in so many different ways.
I
And now we
appreciate
have
that.
you on here.
This was the second time,
Second time, yep.
or the second year that you've done that. Okay.
Yep.
Because I got to stop telling people when they ask me how did I win it, I'd say it's by default. They ran out of any other coaches to pick.
No.
So I guess that's
No,
so I
no.
can't say it. I can't use that anymore.
Oh,
No.
Nope.
You
There's
earned it.
you
appreciate that.
earned it. Yep. You earned it. And so let's dive into more about Danny Casey here.
Sure.
So we have a tradition, Danny, on the show whenever
Mhm.
someone new comes on, and that is Sarah and I are big wrestling nerds. WWE, AWE, WCW, ECW, the whole thing. So we ask people coming on, what would their entrance theme song be if you were just coming out at a meet, or if you're in the WWE, or just in life? You're driving around town, you're playing this song. What's Danny's entrance theme song?
It's not to. I guess not to divulge too much of the backroom workings of this. When you sent me that yesterday, I started thinking about it. I was like, wow, that is a really tough question. I don't know what I'm going through, like catalogs of music in my head of what would it be, what mood do I want to have, and I really, it's like, I was racking my brain. Then all of a sudden, it's just like, you know what? I think it would be "Breathe" by Prodigy.
Ooh,
Yeah,
that's a nice
a
one.
little frenetic, electronic, so it moves fast. So a little driving. So I think, I think I would do that because I'm going through. I'm listening. I'm like thinking of like Hulk Hogan's theme song. I'm thinking of like that John Cena one, which like was just like what? But it's like, yeah, I think I'd do something like that. Yeah. So
Okay.
that'd be the vibe I want to give. I don't know if that's necessarily the vibe I give off, but that's the one I'd want to come into that and just be like, like, yeah.
No,
So that's what I would
that. I could see that. I could actually, I could see you having multiple themes,
Yeah.
like there's maybe there's that Danny theme, but then there's also, when I feel like you have a different theme when your hair is grown out. Like I feel like there's different types of Danny. Yeah.
And then when I turn heel, then it's going to be another different song. So
Yep.
yeah,
Yep.
they do something more sinister in that regard.
Yeah.
And like when you come out with like your oh my God, why is the word escaping me? Like your little like squad. What's the word? Your stable. Sorry, couldn't think of it for a second there. Yeah, you need a different song for your stable. Like when New York Weightlifting Academy comes out, all that stuff. Yeah. Can't think of that. I want to know what the team one is.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man, wrestling has changed so much since I watched it. I was still like, remember when I was a kid in the late 80s, early 90s watching it, and just like, if you knew everyone's song, the Undertaker's song is cool. If I could if I could recycle his and just do that, completely unrelated to any theme that I would be doing, but I mean, that just cool to have that come on and come out to it.
Yep. That's classic. Wow.
But yeah.
Well, who was your guy or your favorite wrestler back in the day?
Oh, I mean, it'd have to be the Ultimate Warrior. I mean, the guy was juiced out of his mind, and he was a nut job. I mean, like, what's not to like? I didn't understand like the game of wrestling or anything, but the guy would just in the promos scream belligerently, and then just again, just veins and muscles everywhere. It's like, man, that's that dude's a monster. I actually go back and watch like YouTube videos now of like from back like I guess older VHS or whatever recordings they did of him like working out in the gym and everything. And what a life! Like it's no wonder these guys don't make it past 50. It's like the stuff they did is like, dude, that was living at full throttle.
It's a hard life.
Heart's
out
probably like
on the
that
road.
big before he passed away.
Oh, yeah.
Can't imagine. Have you seen the videos of him teaching kids like how to squat and do other things?
Yeah, I must have watched that like I don't know how many times, countless times, screaming at the kids. I can't. It's just like,
Sarah, have you seen that?
No, I have to find that.
You haven't seen that? Oh man, you gotta see it.
He was like not my favorite because he was not particularly exciting in the ring. Like everything else was awesome, but like his in-ring stuff. So it's like that was always a little bit of like a meh, but yeah. So I never went back and sought that stuff out. I'll have to go find that. That's funny.
It's
Wow.
the value is in its absurdity, and that it's just was even like out of character was still so beyond over the top. It was just like, man,
Yes.
something was wrong with him.
Yes.
What, Danny? So you've been named Coach of the Year. What was your initial reaction when you heard the news? And did you just see it pop up on social media? Did someone send you a text message, anything like that? What was your initial reaction?
I got a text message, someone saying that people were talking about me, and I'm like, oh really? What are they saying?
Hopefully, good things.
And then I was told I'll find out in a little bit, and then I saw it on social media. Like, oh, look at that! Actually, I found a bunch of people. There were a few like shares and tags before I guess I saw like the original WSO message, and I'm like, oh man, that's awesome! Wow. So I didn't expect it. I was very caught off guard. So yeah,
Very cool.
like that's neat. And then everyone's sharing, like, oh man, that's me.
I like how there's a little anxiety, like peppered in the initial on, like, hey, people are talking about you. Oh, don't worry about it. You'll find out eventually. And then you're like, well, what's going on? Like, am I okay? Have I done something?
Yeah. Well, yeah. I got a message like that. I'm like, oh, am I getting safe sported? What's going on here?
Yeah. You need.
Like,
I never know.
I didn't do it. I don't think I did anything recently. So
Well, that's awesome, and it was very, very cool to see, all the members of your team, and maybe even some of them that aren't on the team anymore, posting things up and saying nice things about you. It just felt like a very nice come together community moment, and that's one of the cool things about these awards. When we have the Outstanding Athlete Awards, the scholarships, the Coach of the Year, is just to shine a little spotlight on some people and have everyone love on them. So it was a very cool moment to see that happen.
yeah, it was nice, especially as you say, like the breadth of people that were just sharing, posting, commenting on it and such is because like obviously like, you know how things are in business, relationships, life, everything like that. I mean, for the most part, you always try to do the best you can. I mean, obviously you always your interactions with different people go different ways, different direction. Not saying bad, but just how it is. But to be able to at least have in some capacity positive and to be effectual on people's lives in some way and see the appreciation of it. It's like, all right, good. I'm doing what I can and trying to do it the best that I can.
Yeah, especially when you've done it for so long. You might have an athlete that kind of falls off, or they stop, being a member of your team or whatever. And those things kind of they can happen very, very quickly. And then
Yeah.
in comes the next 5 people. And you never realize, like, oh, like how much you meant to that one person or how you
Yeah.
affected them. And then something like this allows them to kind of circle back and be like, oh yeah, by the way, thank you. And it just kind of adds a little bit of closure to it, because it's just becomes a revolving door after a little while of like so many people coming through.
It does, and
You being in
especially
your
the current
position,
takes
you're
you.
affecting a lot of people.
Yeah, and try to like as best I can. That's like a lot of times when, let's say, when people come into the gym, like obviously it's predominantly a weightlifting gym, but I'll have people come in for various other training modalities or focuses, and it's just where they always come in. I ask them first and foremost, like, what is their goal and what do they want to get out of it, and so then I could try to facilitate my approach and facilitate something to best accommodate them. And I think with that, it's helpful because you can try to reach someone directly as what they need instead of just, okay, come here, you're going to join everybody, do this, do that, but try to really make it individualized, because I mean, in so many ways we're all individuals, but you want to accommodate and give them the best possible version of what I'm capable of doing to them, so that way it helps them in the best way to whatever their desired outcomes are in life.
Yeah. Then it becomes a little bit of a team effort, a little bit
Yeah,
of you, a
yeah,
little bit
very
of
much.
them.
And it's just, it establishes, I'd say so too, it early on establishes communication, and at least try to facilitate an open dialogue and like, what do you think of this? And uh, various, establishes communication so you can keep a dialogue of how things are progressing, so you can stay on a track where both parties are satisfied with where they're going and achieve the best result for somebody.
100%.
Communication, most important. Yep.
Mhm. It's true, and
It-
like especially too, like it's further on coaching, and like there was just even one instance the other day with someone lifting, and it's important because especially for let's say newer lifters or people who aren't familiar with lifting, even for that matter, you never know what someone's thinking, you never know what's going through their head, and even just something even completely related to weightlifting, you don't know what they're thinking, and when unless someone will give some sort of response or what the kind of catch is like, oh really, that's what you're thinking, all right, and then now I have thought her in a good direction, but okay, now I got to try to facilitate something slightly different because like I don't know where you got that thought from, but let's go this direction instead. So you got to have an open dialogue and not have things be walled off or expected in a certain way.
Yeah, and asking questions is a good way to start off with that. Like you said, what are you thinking, or just even how was your day? Like you don't know what happened before the gym and on the way to the gym or last night, and all of a
Very much.
sudden those things are gonna come into their training.
Yeah, all of that, as you know, it plays a huge factor. I mean, day in and day out, it's just every day's different. We're not professional athletes, or most people aren't professional athletes. Even those who are either at a high level or close to professional, it affects them the same way. I mean, people are people, so emotions fluctuate with things. Your energy levels, any various circumstance, even an interaction at a gas station that didn't there was some unsavory character could completely derail you. So it's just it's the nature of existence, I guess.
Yeah, it's
Wow,
just life.
deep.
Yeah, right.
Just life.
Right that way.
Weightlifting is existence.
It is.
Yeah, I tell people out of the gym all the time, like it really is. At least in all my years doing it, it's become like weightlifting is a metaphor for life. It really is. The gym and how people lift is a microcosm for their personality, for how they conduct themselves, and you can tell so much of a person by how they conduct themselves in the gym, and then let's say what the lessons and things they take away from that they can use and apply to everywhere else. And it's everyone should weightlift because of that exact course. So I try to constantly tell people to continue through repetition, just keep reminding people of that. It's like what you put in, what you get out, and all of that. Like you can use this everywhere.
Yeah, the entire sport is repetition with the barbell, with back
Yes, it is.
squats, and then just even with you telling them, "Hey,
Uh-huh.
tighten up on your pull, tighten up on your," or whatever you're saying to them. Your
Yeah.
words of repetition until the point where you're not there, but they like, I hear Danny in the back of my head telling me right now what I should be
Don't you
doing.
get tired of telling me the same thing? It's like, no, it's okay.
Yeah,
There are worse things that I could be doing.
yeah, it's kind of my job, to tell you
Yeah,
those
yeah. It's like
things.
I really don't mind it. I promise you, this is pretty good.
Yeah. And you've been so the New York Weightlifting Academy. When was that founded?
It's funny you should ask, and that's not a staged question to everybody listening.
Uh,
It was founded. This is our 10th year anniversary. So yeah,
Ooh,
10 years ago.
Congratulations.
congrats!
Thank you,
Yeah.
thank you. So, uh, I tell people all the time when I first started the gym, I was renting a small space next door to where I am now, literally just like a little warehouse space in the back in the carpet store days.
Yes.
And yeah, so yeah, I mean, the great memories. Still have some original members from back then. So and
I
then
saw the photos when I was trying to
Mhm.
find a photo of you for Coach of the
Yeah.
Year. I went deep into your Instagram. So
Yeah.
like the club Instagram and yours. I'm like, I
Yeah.
gotta find a nice photo of Danny. And I told Sarah, I'm like, do you know what's going on with the carpet? Like they're in the
Mhm.
warehouse. It was so cool. It's so rustic, so underground. I liked it.
Yeah. So we started actually when I first started training with Marc. We were training at a place in White Plains. We ended up leaving there because of the disagreement with the people who owned the place at the time. And then actually, I still had people who wanted to train weightlifting, but I didn't have anywhere to do it. So, but they were also located roughly within the area where I am now. So, the carpet store next door used to be owned by my grandfather, like way back when. He sold it to one of the guys that worked for him. So I knew the guys. Like, listen, can I just? It's a great location, great spot. Can I use the space after hours just to work with a few people? And lo and behold, it ended up burgeoning to where like we actually had a sizable contingent coming there. Believe it or not, we had a few people who went to nationals from literally from training in a carpet store, going to nationals, and competing nationally. Um, and then it got to the point where it's like I'm just like looking over how many people I had and numbers of everything, and I kept like I must have just wore the buttons on a calculator out, just doing the same thing over and over. Like really, I think I can get a space. So that led to just all pure coincidence and proximity. I knew because of that very circumstance, I knew the landlord or the previous landlords of the building from just my grandfather's days and from the carpet store days. And I was like, "Do you guys have any space laying around or anything?" So I looked. This was a good month, like couple month process. Then a few other spaces and everything, but there was a current tenant where I am now. And as I later learned, they were just not paying rent. Weren't being the most honorable of leasees, and so they decided, okay, we're going to discontinue our lease with them. If you were interested in taking the space, you could take it over. And it was a very easy move in because literally like just walked all the equipment through one door, put it in the gym, and we were right there. I mean, it was very fortunate. It was good timing, good circumstance. Just a matter of like positioning myself, and then yeah, it was 2015. I did
Wow.
that and just have been going since.
That's the best move. Just right next door, no trucks, no nothing.
When I say like there wasn't a vehicle wasn't necessary. The only vehicle necessary for moving was just to get me from to the facility just to be able to move things in. So yeah, so we had humble beginnings in the carpet store.
All right. And I remember some of those photos. I think I saw people squatting to egg crates or the plastic crates.
Oh, yeah, we had
Mhm.
well, so it was box squats and also that we would do to like a bucket of glue, and I actually made a bench press out of one of the squat racks with buckets of glue and like wood planks. It was very very crude, but it was effective. So
Yeah.
I mean, I've
Yeah.
actually when I was lifting, I made a bunch of like my first time records there. So it just goes to show it's really not. I mean,
Well, there's a
because you
good
see it around
lesson
the
from
world.
it because I mean, you're training on boxes of glue and in a carpet store and still
Yeah,
having people go to nationals. There's a
yeah.
lot of people that are like, I gotta have the nice plates, I gotta have the nice bar, things like
Hmm.
that. Oh, I go to a meet and they don't have nice stuff. What am I gonna do? I don't
Yeah.
have my bar. And it's like none of that matters. All that matters is what have you done to
Yeah.
perfect this?
No, it really does. It's about it's just like anywhere. It's just the the tangible things are what you're doing and how you're doing it versus what you're doing it with or where you are. I mean, and you see that internationally with some of these countries where, like, if one of my friends, the guy who used to train here, he competed for Greece long ago, and he was just saying how they had one bar, 20 lifters. They would literally just keep taking turns. The bar would never stop moving. They had one bar for lifting and then one beat up bar for squatting, and they would just do the best that they could. But he did some really impressive numbers as a junior, as a 69. So it's just it's about the dedication and the guidance.
I'd love to watch. Like I've heard you hear about training stories like that about there's 50 people, one bar, or this that. I would love to like just be able to watch a session like that just to see
Yeah.
it go down.
It's yeah, I have ideas of what that's like, and it's probably an impressive thing to watch, especially because in a situation like that where I would at least I would think where there's just just so little comfort that everyone's really focused, dialed into what they're doing. They want to be there, and everyone means business. Probably taking it much more seriously than those who have a really nice facility to go to.
Yeah, if you're guy number 17, you can't be
Yeah.
on your phone walking off doing whatever. You got to be dialed in like,
No. Yeah.
"Oh, my weight's on the bar, let's go." And
Yeah.
you got to
You have to
load for each
be.
other.
Hmm. Load for each other. So you have teamwork, but you have to be on. Like other people are relying on you. All right, you got to keep going, otherwise you're going to slow this down. I mean, the amount of waiting between that many people going, it's like wow.
Yeah. You're
Yeah,
going to be well rested.
yeah, yeah. I'd say at least get
Maybe that's
triples.
some Yeah, that's a nice master's template there. Like, all right, you hit your
Oh man.
lift, 7 minutes of rest,
Hmm.
wait, everybody goes through and you do another one.
Yeah, yeah. I can. As I got older as a lifter and became more of a master, I would still essentially like lift at my my younger pace, if you want to call it that. Not that I'm older, I mean, but it would just be like, man, how did I do that? This is wild. I'm gonna cut this workout in half. I think I'll feel better.
Yeah. What are some of Danny as an athlete's accomplishments? What have you done in the sport? I'm assuming it was Marc was your coach, right, in the beginning?
Yeah. Yeah. No. So yeah, I said I'd say the entirety of my career, Marc was my coach, and he really led. I started with this one other guy, kind of like in a preliminary sense, and just kind of got my feet wet. But then I ended up competing, and then meeting a few other guys from New York who introduced me to Marc. But yeah, Marc coached me for probably the vast majority. I'm trying to think how many years that was. At least from maybe at least 2011, 2012 up until like right about COVID times. And I still talk with Marc. Marc still comes to the gym. It's just I really am not active or at least crazily active as a lifter anymore, like I was during those times. So I spent I spent my whole duration with him. So I learned a lot from him. I'd say, like, let's say you're like accolades as a lifter, you're asking, or accomplishments as a lifter.
Yeah, I mean things that are important to you.
Okay. So, like, I mean, looking back at it, it's like I was talking to Jim Storch at, I think it was state championships. I think it was this year, state championships.
Yeah.
And we were just discussing lifting everything. And this goes back like even pre-COVID. I remember 2018 out in Salt Lake, I was talking with Jim too. And at the time when I was speaking with him, it's like, I forget how old I was. I can't do the math right now on the spot. But let's say I was probably probably 34, 35, somewhere around there. And at the time, my back was really bothering me. And I was just talking to Jim. I was like, Jim, how old were you when you did this? And when did you start and everything? Just looking for perspective. And he gave good perspective. So I've always enjoyed speaking with him. So fast forward to state championships when we were talking. And we're just discussing technique. And he just said, I didn't really understand what I was doing technically until I was really at the tail end or past the high point of my career. And I kind of feel the same for me in that regard. Like, so trained with Marc a number of years. And this is nothing against, let's say, how Marc taught me. It just takes time for you to really understand what you're doing. It's like you hear the same thing over and over, but then it's like, all right, now kind of get it. So let's say when COVID happened and it was like, all right, I'm not training. I'm not really, nothing to train for. I'm not competing at any time. I somewhat just kind of like, all right, I'm going to play around and try some different things and see where it leads me. Like certain things I don't like that I do. So I'm going to try to correct that. So let's say COVID forward, I'm really happy, let's say as a lifter in terms of what I've been able to do in terms of understanding of technique. Obviously, it's hard to apply it and you still have to work hard to do it. But I think to this point, technically, I've probably been the best that I have been in many ways. I mean, I have many restrictions because let's say when I was teenager or like, high school afterwards, I raced motocross for a number of years and just one to too many augerings into the ground have kind of wreaked havoc on my shoulders and elbows. So when Marc got me, I wasn't necessarily my freshest and it had a lot of, just limitations. So
it's often the case, right? You get an athlete and they've already done a lot of other things.
Yeah, so it's like, oh man, I am banged up. So, but I didn't realize it. I was like, I'm just going to do this. I want to lift weights. I'm going to lift weights, and I did, which was a good thing. But let's say all the years training with Marc, I learned a ton with him, and he definitely got me to my strongest. So, I mean, I never achieved anything monumental, so I would consider monumental as a lifter, but I managed to snatch. And this was weighing like it was probably more like roughly 80 kilos, competing as either a 77 and then later 81. But snatched 125. I clean and jerked 148. I cleaned 160 one time. What else did I do? Front squatted 180. So those are things where it's like, yeah, that's like looking back at like in the time, I was like, oh, I'm so weak. I'm pathetic. I got to get stronger. I'm such a terrible, miserable lifter. But looking back at it, it's like, all right, I can kind of hang my hat on some of those things. So
it's a funny thing when you're a master.
Perspective, of like what like realizing like what I was working with and so forth. Like you can like you could say the hypothetical. Like let's say if I know what I know now, would I've done better then? I mean, maybe, but I mean you can't compare the two. It's just a hypothetical and it'll never be. So you could always say yes, but you could say no at the same time because if I didn't have those years, would I have got to where I can later understand things in a different regard. So it was good. So those are my lifting accolades, I would say.
Well,
And
it's like, you know, you may not be able to, what you know now, go back and like maybe improve on the lifting, but it's almost like you
yeah,
can pass on the message to your current lifters, like,
yeah,
hey, maybe enjoy it more now,
hmm,
because you might look back on this time and be like, whoa, how did I ever do that stuff? That's amazing. I wish
yeah,
I could still do that. So it's
yeah.
like, don't let the
It,
sport be all negative and beat you down that way.
no, I try to, yeah, I do try to do that, and just try to give people's perspective. They're like, listen, just it takes time. Like years are what matter, not days, not even weeks for that in that sense. So like, just take the years as they come and enjoy it, because it really does go quick. Like it's all the years where I was lifting with Mark, it was just like, all of a sudden it's gone. Like it's behind you. It's like the peak of your athletic career, or is very short in the grand scheme of things. And all of a sudden, just like the gym being 10 years old, it's like, oh my God, 10 years already? I remember when I was signing the lease, when they were asking me like, oh, do you want to do a 5 year? Do you want to do this? I was like, oh my God, 5 year? Can I do like a 2 month? I don't know if I'm going to make this. And so, I mean, like but again, hindsight looking back, like, man, I wish I signed a 10-year lease. I would have had a killer lease rate, but you don't know. And you just, until, you don't know until the time elapses. But the thing is, the time elapses really quick. And it's like, just savor every moment. There are a lot of ups and downs. And I think partially too, when you start later, you don't realize you get when you start later, you get the perspective too late. And yes, you could say I can lift as like a master now and do all that, but it's like it's not the same.
Yeah.
I started late, so
Ah,
I was doing other things too, like I was like running marathons and
mhm.
found strength training like later in life. And I mean, do
Yeah,
I wish I had started sooner? Absolutely. Like I think high school Sarah would have loved to have been strong. Like that would have been
yeah,
super cool to me. But my positive is just that since I started late, it's like I still have room to fair amount of room to grow a little bit and get
yeah.
stronger and better at lifting. So in my later age, that's my
No,
positive
I
spin
think you
on it.
definitely do. I think I contend that no matter when you start, though, weightlifting will give you 10 years, no matter where that is, and you will get to a good level for yourself, whatever the level may be. But you have 10 years, no matter when you. Like, have you heard the say it's like you could lift a lot of weights when you're young, or you could lift a lot of weights when you're old, but you can't do both.
No,
So
that's good though.
yeah, so it's like when it's like, so that's why, like, and I do agree with that. I have people like, oh man, I'm getting older. I don't know if I can make progress. Do this. Like, no, you can. You just and Mike Graber. We give Mike Graber a shout out here. He said that when I know, right? um,
I haven't heard that
he
name in a
said that at
while.
one point in time. I know he's getting married. Well, he is married, but he's
Wow.
having his
Get married.
ceremony soon.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, he said that at one point in time, like when he was, I guess, retired, and I was in the like earlier stages of my career. He's like, "Nah, you don't have the miles on you. You should be all right." And I didn't lift my lifetime bests until I was, I think I lift my lifetime best at 34. So yeah, so that was good. And that's like, and going back to Jim Storch and the conversation we had, he said he lifted his lifetime best at 38, and that was having started at 18 years old. So it's like I was like, all right, cool. I got some mileage in here. I could beat myself up a little longer.
That's a nice
But there,
chunk of
there's
time
always
to put into the
something.
sport. Yeah.
Yeah. But like speaking of gym, it's like, I mean, James knows this because we've been talking about it a little bit, but it's like I was inputting all of our state records into the so that we could use it for meets to show like when a record is being attempted and
Mhm.
so you have to like put all this
Oh,
stuff
that's
into a
cool.
spreadsheet. So I was looking at it and it's just hilarious because Jim Storch is like the most prolific. Jerry's trying to catch up for sure,
Yeah.
but like Jim is like so many weight classes and
Hmm.
just so many age groups, and he just keeps going. So it's like it might not be his best lifting, but he's still in the record books, like
Yeah.
far beyond everybody else.
Yeah. No, he really. But like as of recent, he seems like he's slowed a little bit. But like 2018 and 19, and the guy was even at whatever his weight, 102, 109, whatever it was, and he was still doing like 115, 145. I'm like, oh my God, how's this guy's like 70 years old? How's he doing this? And he's not that old. Sorry, Jim.
And he can still, yeah, he can still do a full split.
I know.
Also
Finishing
very
every lift off
impressive.
with that. I'm like, this guy's a showman. Here I am hobbling off, and I'm like, half his age.
Yeah.
We love you, Jim.
Shout out to Jim. We
True
gotta get
asset.
Jim on here at some
Oh,
point.
you should. That'd be cool. He there's a lot to learn from a lifetime of experience from.
With your training with Marc, so we've mentioned Marc a couple times,
Mhm.
Marc Chasnov, senior international coach in New York. And to our knowledge, I know we've talked about this, Sara. I don't know if there's any other senior international coach in New York other than Brennan, right? Brennan Colwell out in Buffalo.
Oh, really?
You
He's
might
senior
be,
international, yeah. Well,
or
Artie's
maybe
actually he's also.
international. I don't know. Oh,
Yeah, he's
Artie.
definitely international. I don't know if he's senior, but yeah. Artie
Yeah.
for sure.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I think
Okay,
they
Artie.
might be
So
the
maybe
only
just those
two.
two.
Is Joe Triolo or no?
No.
He should be.
Other
Just-
international things. Lots of other international things, but not as far as a coach. But
Okay.
Dean's
Yeah, I think-
keeping him in
I-
there.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's just those two though that are the senior internationals.
So just those two. You work with Marc for your entire career.
Yeah.
What are some big lessons or takeaways that he gave you that you probably still use with your athletes now? You're just passing it on, or it's part of your curriculum. What are some of those lessons?
Let's see. Big takeaways. I would say less is more. He taught me how to, because Mark's also been a physical therapist for this year it'll be 50 years. He says, as he told me yesterday. But he incorporate, like let's say outside of like the weightlifting stuff, a lot of strength and accessory exercises. He incorporates a lot of, I guess, like his therapy approach to it in terms of, let's say, different how to go about like a lot of accessory type of exercises and how to scale things, work things. So you'd have to kind of get like work with him a little bit to see what I mean with it. I mean, I didn't want to go in too much detail. It would just be long and meandering, but learned that from him, how to really work things with not in a very safe manner. And then he really also the ability to focus. He taught me, I'd say the best and foremost thing that Marc taught me, I would say, is learning how to focus as a lifter. Especially, I mean, it's still am, but the wife and I talk about this all the time. I kind of miss it. I don't get like this anymore, but like just this, you may not believe it, but when I would lift, it would just be this, just a different person, just unbridled rage and anger, the amount of holes that I put through walls, the amount of chairs that I've destroyed, the amount of things that have flown across the room. I've kicked squat stands through walls. But like he took like how to basically harness that and actually put that into my lifting versus just being this just relentless belligerent machine. I remember one time I tore my shoe in the gym. I tore my shoe off, threw it. It skipped completely out of the gym into the lobby area, and I'm smashing through a picture frame, and there was glass everywhere. So yeah, there's some major rage, but learn how to like, okay, you gotta harness this a little bit. Maybe you'll be a little more productive, and you won't do that as much. So it was really that's the biggest thing that I took away from it, and it applies too. And it's like though I'd say the one thing now that I miss about competing the most, being that I'm not competing as much, especially like where I'm trying to like really locked into it, is the ability to be able to turn that on and like focus deeply and be really entrenched in exactly what I'm doing right there or in that moment of time. Because I really, there's not much where I'm really doing that anymore. And even like the most more recent times that I competed as a master, just kind of more lax. It's not as intense, and I think it's kind of like, all right, all my big work is behind me right now, so it doesn't have that new fresh allure where I'm like spearheading, trying to get something new. But
That would be
yeah,
a fun energy for the warm-up room at a Masters meet, though. It would be fun.
oh yeah. Well, yeah. It would be, but then at the same time, I'd be like, "Guy, you're taking this way too serious, man. You're a master. You just down 5 Advils. You're rubbing your arm just to go out and do 70 kilos. It's like you're back it down. You got to walk out of here." So, yeah. But no, that's one of the best things because it's still in there, and there've been a certain times, like even just like training in the gym, where it's like, I'm having a good day and feeling spry. It's like you can kind of like develop it. It's because okay, going back, the ability to focus is something that is equally as trainable as your strength, and it's a specific modality of training. You have to put equally as much effort into learning and developing a process for yourself how to focus as it is for you to build your squat, as it is for you to build your technique. And it's one of the most probably one of the most undervalued trainable skills that I would think most lifters, including some of my own fault even, that need to learn more and can learn better, which will help them. Like a lot of times, I mean, when you can lift it in a crowded room, just like at a competition, and people walking in front of you noisily, and you can just completely shut out and be unfazed by it, that's where you're going to reap the most benefits.
Be
Yeah.
dialed in.
Mm-hmm.
Have you had again, so since you've been doing this so long, have you had an athlete come along that was essentially just like, oh, that's me from when I started, kicking over squat stands, throwing shoes, stuff like that? And if you did, how did you approach that? Like now learning, you're a much wiser, Danny, and now you're Coach Danny, and you've been there and you've done that. How did you respond to it, and how did you rein them back in?
I just laugh and say, I get it. And it just the rule that I had with my buddy Mike back when we trained is just no windows, no mirrors. Everything else is fair game. So, but no, most people aren't as destructive as I am, or at least as I was, because it's not theirs, and they're going to be more polite about it. Something about it when it's your own, you try to hold back, but it's like, oh, but I can. Ooh. So, but no, I just no, you sympathize. It's not really much you can do because at least I think. I mean, you try to, yes, like Mark did with me, encourage. All right, try to put in your lifting. Don't let it beat you up too much. Like, don't go home and seethe for hours. It's easier said than done, So it's especially too when you're like that. Sometimes it's just how it is. I you just can't change it. I know the feeling, and it's like it's not that you want to be like that. It's just boiling up, and it's just you try your best. You try to do it, but sometimes it gets the best of you. Sometimes it doesn't. But you try to take at least, let's say, listen, this is what I did. This is what I would do. See if it works for you. So, because every personality is different in some regard. You may have the belligerent anger, but some may not necessarily respond in certain ways like I did or what worked for me. But I appreciate it though, because it shows someone who cares.
Yeah. Yeah, if you're that invested in it, you definitely care about doing well, performing well.
Well, that's the thing too. As a coach, you could do something with that, which is why I spent so many years with Mark. I mean, I have had people over the years who, let's say, like from me coaching, where let's say that it gets difficult and there's just no spark, no passion, they just go flat. It's like, well, I can't do anything with that. If you're not like, I can't lift it for you. I can't be a cheerleader. I can't motivate you. I mean, you need to be intrinsically motivated to do this type of stuff because it's difficult. And if you're unwilling to face the difficulty when you get there, I mean, well, how are you going to get past it? I mean, if you're not willing to find something inside you, spark, some sort of challenge to be like, no, I'm not letting this beat me. I'm going to beat this. Then where are you going to go from there? Otherwise, just be content just spinning your wheels at the same weights. It's good. I mean, even a coach, I can't, no amount of technique, no amount of like pat on the back, no amount of like, come on, quit being a baby is going to do anything to accelerate it.
Yeah, and when you're coaching them, it kind of, it might deflate you a little bit or suck the energy out of you instead of having this like back and forth flow of like your energy, my energy. Now we're in a thing. We're in a little dance here, and we can like lead each other.
No, very much, very much. It's just like, oh God, like I'm giving more effort as a coach than you are as a person lifting the weights, and I'm just sitting on the sidelines here. It shouldn't be like that. You gotta come on. Let's get something going here. Like, do you hate anything? Like, you're mad at somebody? Like, what can we do?
You got to find their power song. Like, all right, what's your entrance theme song? We got to hype you up.
It's like, where's the on space? Like, it's like, don't you want it? This is exciting. You should be lucky to do this. You could be living in some impoverished hovel or something like that. It's a luxury to be lifting on the platform. Like, wake up, realize this.
Yeah.
In your gym, you've done a lot of things. You've hosted a lot of foreign athletes to come in and do seminars. You've done Klokov, right?
I have about like 5 times or so.
Okay, yeah. So a lot of Klokov.
Tarakti,
I know was there recently, and I'm sure there's others. How do you get in contact with these people, and like what's different? Like oh wow, I need to change my whole way of teaching, or no, we're talking about the same things, just different language. What kind of takeaways you get from those?
All the above. So it's just a friend of mine I don't know how he got contact. He got contact with Klokov, and he was kind of acting as his handler, if you will, when he was coming to the States. So we did a bunch of different organizations, organized a bunch of different events with that. Then just through Klokov directly when he was here. Tarakti was again through another doing through another friend. These are all like Russian people, so they're reaching out and stuff. And then actually the same guy same friend who brought Klokov also brought Muhammad Ahab over. So
Oh, yeah.
they just reach out, hey, you want to have these guys? I'm like, yeah, that'd be cool. Let's do it. But it's wild. I mean, I think it's probably a combination of culturally where they're from, and then their personalities at the same time. Not to take anything away from anybody, but Klokov is just a different breed. And like, I tell when people ask, like, is it worth it to do the seminar? I say it's worth the money to do the seminar. Not even for what he says, but just to be around him, just to observe him as an individual. Have you guys met him before or came across him?
Yeah, I did
I've
his
seen him.
seminar.
Yeah.
You did, okay, right? So you know what I'm talking about.
Oh yeah.
He's just different. His mindset, everything is different. I remember the first, I think it was the first seminar they did. This guy went for like 12 hours straight, nonstop. The only thing he had to eat was half of a grilled chicken or chicken Caesar salad that he didn't finish and a bottle of water. And he was just driving people into the ground. There was all these lifters, CrossFitters. People are guzzling, they're eating nonstop, and these people are just like sprawled on the floor. And Klokov still is going, just driving, driving. His energy was incredible.
I think our seminar started at like 4 in the afternoon, and we were leaving at midnight, and that was night one. Yeah, it was, and he spent time with everybody. So exercise drill 1, everybody do it 5 sets, whatever. And that was like 2 hours, and he's going to spend 20 minutes with Danny, 20 minutes with me, and he just molds you and coaches you and teaches you, and he hits you. I got hit a lot. So.
Yeah. It's so let's say it's interesting because let's say you have Klokov, Tarakti, Ahab. All these guys have been on the top. They've gone to the Olympics. They've all medaled at the Olympics. But they're incredibly different personality-wise. And Klokov, it's like he's one off. Taraki's incredibly nice, very humble guy, incredibly humble guy. Ahab is the same way. He's very polite, very humble. Taraki didn't lift. Klokov didn't lift during the seminar. He lifted, just had a training session in between sessions. So when he first came, he weighed 107. And he said he wasn't really training too much. When he came the second time, which was approximately, I want to say 8 months later, he was training, and he weighed 125. And it was just like when I picked him up from the airport, this guy he needed my armrest in the car. This guy was massive. I'm like, oh my god, like, how do you put on 20 kilos in 8 months? Like, oof. But he was enormous, absolutely enormous. I actually had one of the women at the time did photographs of both seminars. Like, can you please give me a side by side of the previous to now? Like, this contrast is unbelievable. He was enormous.
Did he have regular shoes when he showed up, or was he just wearing weightlifting shoes?
No, he had regular shoes. It was just like the like the Reebok ones.
Okay, all right. Like he got out of the car for ours already wearing these lifters, and he just wore them all over, and like went to the store still wearing them. And I was like, did he fly in with just wearing those?
He flies light or travels light. He actually stayed. So when because the guy handling him didn't come up, but he organized everything for him. So he organized Klokov's hotel and everything. So I go to drop him off at the hotel. I'm like, where are we going? He gave me the address. I'm like, really? There? So the hotel he stayed in, I didn't realize this until one of the cops that I had coming here later told me, was a known like crack den whorehouse type of thing.
Oh.
So it was hysterical. Like, their drop off is this like dive place. I guess like it's a gas station across the street. So they guess do drug deals there and everything. They come over and maybe it made him feel like at home. I don't know.
And then you
But I
have
was like, I can't believe
this giant walking around.
Yeah, it's this enormous Russian man. I mean, come back from the grocery store. He's got baguettes and packets of cheese and kefir, a big bucket of olives. I forget what else he had, like tons of food because he was training at the time. But it was just like, man, this is an experience.
Oh man. I
So
mean, I guess it's for his dollar, that was the better deal to, to make some money and stay in a cheap place. Plus, it's like, what does that guy have to be scared of?
nothing. The bed bugs would be the most frightening. Size doesn't
they-
change that.
But they can't break through the skin. It's just so much muscle.
I think his skin
Imagine.
had some extra defenses going that day, so he might have been. I think he would have been all right.
Yeah.
But
And
let's say between him, Tarakti, Ahab, it was interesting. Again, like I said, because all different schools of thought, but just there was a lot. There were a lot of similar. The biggest thing that they had in common was that all of them have gone through a system, and they've gone through a system that has been long established. And that, like, unlike any experience or coaching that had it here, like Klokov's big thing was, don't watch professionals lift, because when you watch professionals lift, they've gone through at least 20 years of fundamental training to get where they are now. Once you get to become a professional, anything goes, anything for an extra kilo. But essentially, they've developed to that point, they've earned that point. In the beginning, just like a language, like, let's say, I guess before you, let's say, like, have colloquial conversation, you have to have fundamental rules, and the fundamental rules are really what establish the baseline for where you go thereafter to be able to understand what you're doing. So that was a good takeaway. There were a lot of similarities between him and Tarakti technically. So I've taken a lot from them because it just, all right, it makes sense. I like it. The concepts are good, and really, the Russian, I do really enjoy the Russian application of technique. I remember, like, Yasha Khan, I've learned a bunch from him just in our during our friendship throughout the years, and just little things, not even like Yasha sitting down and me going over major things, just like little conversations and stuff. Learned a lot from Yasha, which kind of ties into all of that. And I like how Yasha said, like, and I remember back, like, years ago, like, at least so it seemed to me, and the little that I knew when I was beginning, like in American lifting, it was like, no, you don't do it that way, you do it this way. Everything was a black and white, right and wrong. But with all these guys, it's like there's no such thing as right and wrong. It's just, everything goes in every which way because everybody's different. And like Yasha would say, it's like, okay, this is the way I teach it because this way works most optimally for the majority of people that are out there. So it's like, all right, and that's fair. And then going to Tarakti, he would approach it the same way, but then because people are so different, especially in the seminars like in the US, I mean, we're being such a non-homogeneous society, he would just make little tweaks that would kind of work for try this, try that, make suggestions. Maybe you want to try doing this, see how that works. If not, and go back and so forth. So it was that's a lot of what I took away from them. I mean, there's so much more to it. I mean, we could probably have a whole episode on what I took away from all of them, but those I think are some of the big overarching ideas. And the one thing, actually, another one too that I really like that I took away from them, and this goes more toward which I really try to teach a lot of my lifters to do, and as I later learned for myself, and again, a developable skill is to going back to being just a emotional nut job, is to really try to separate the two, because when you're emotional, you're not objective. But that is the benefit of having a coach, is that a coach offers you objectivity, but you need to learn yourself how to be objective so you can get the most out of every workout. Because let's say Klokov, Ahab, a lot of, like they were saying, they have ideas of what their workout is going to be, like in terms of exercises, but they don't know what it's going to be. And they'll just go each workout by how they feel that day. Like Klokov was saying, I may do these 4 exercises. The first one may not be that good, but then my third exercise might be the one that I'm really doing well for that day. So then I push harder there and so forth. So it's a matter of listening to your body, being objective to how you're applying it. So that way you're not just like murdering yourself because you're trying to get it, but you're being a little bit more smart and intuitive, and not not just punching holes in the walls.
time and a place for those.
There is. Let me tell you, there is.
Do you still talk to Yasha? Is he still around? I remember he was around for like a bit, and then now I kind of feel like I haven't
He
seen him in a
he
while.
comes to he just came by the Murder of Crows meet because like he
Oh,
coaches
all right.
sometimes down. There's a CrossFit gym called Dean CrossFit, like that's a few blocks down from Murder of Crows, and I think he like does some stuff there and shows up. But yeah, every time we have a meet, he pops his head in and checks out, especially our primetime sessions.
Yeah, that's cool. 'Cause I haven't spoken to him in a while, so because I get as he I guess goes back and forth between here and Boston, between work and his girlfriend. So yeah, so he'll be back and forth. Is he still coaching at Dean, or because I know I thought they closed down at some point. Maybe I'm wrong, but he was looking for a weightlifting home.
I don't know because I had a friend that she was like a weightlifting coach there for like a little bit, and then she got an opportunity to go to Spain, so she like left. But it was like that. I
Yeah.
mean, so that was maybe like 3 years ago, and I think that like he was still kind of just like involved in the periphery. Like I don't think he came
Okay.
in and like really did much, but he
Mhm.
definitely like poked in there a bunch. So I don't know.
Okay.
But yeah, he's around them.
Yeah. All right. I'll have to
Very
reach
cool.
out to him.
Yeah, that would be cool to see
Yeah.
him again. But he dropped into our gym once and lifted with our barbell club, and he was doing his series of exercises, while we were doing our own thing. So he's over there, like muscle snatching or something close to it, 225 pounds, and I have all my beginners in there. Like he's doing obscene things, and I have all my beginners in there, and they're just like, what is he doing over there?
Who is that
And-
machine?
Yeah. Well, yeah. Plus, he was the biggest person in the gym. Like, he's gigantic because he's a big man, or at least compared to me. And he asked me before we were lifting. He's like, "How old are these bars?" And I'm like, "Well, I said them were from like 2012, 2000. Some are from 2008." He's like, "All right, maybe I won't lift on those bars." And I'm like, "How come?" He's like, "I'll break them." And like, I guess it's the way he'd be lifting and his intensity and whatnot. He's like, "I don't think these bars will survive me."
Wow.
So
Okay.
I had to find him like one of the nicer new Rogue bars, and he used
Yeah.
that.
That's it, to withstand. I have never seen someone sweat so much in my life. I don't know if you guys have experienced. Like I literally have not. He came. I forget. It was during one of his pass throughs that he came by. It was in the summer. I know that much. It looked like someone took and I'm not exaggerating, not for the purpose of story whatsoever. It literally looked like someone took a gallon of water, slashed the bottom of it, and just trailed it everywhere. And it was just it was unbelievable. I've never seen so much fluid come out of one person. And he was and he's like, "Oh, do you have a towel by chance that I could use?" I'm like, "Oh, cool. The guy's gonna clean up after himself. Dope." Then he takes a towel and he wipes himself. Everything left the puddles everywhere. I'm like, "What? Oh man, I gotta clean this up." But I mean, I guess when you sweat that much though, it's just pure water. So I'm like, all right, it'll probably doing me the favor. The floor hasn't been mopped in a while. It'll just evaporate and clean. Yeah.
It's got a little extra magic in there. All of a sudden, your lifters come in, they stretch, and they're like, "Whoa, wow, I'm really
Yeah,
feeling good today."
Yeah, man, feel good today.
and then Oh, go ahead,
Oh
Jim.
no, continue.
Oh, I was going to just bring up also just in terms of like the multi-use space that your gym has become. You've also hosted metal shows. And I've
Yes.
always tried to tell me about that. Like, how did that happen? And you better be doing more.
It was very organic.
Doing that too.
So like past number of years around like Christmas or New Year's, I always do like the gym like year-end party type of thing. So we had we just went to a local restaurant down the street, and we just every year there was always a wild story. So we did. Oh, okay, yeah. So we'd go to a restaurant down the street. Always something wild would come out. And then one year, one of the guys that came here was like, "Oh, my brother, he does his work at a hotel. We could get the banquet room." And then it was just so we did that, and that was kind of like, all right, I gotta tone this down. It was a party beyond all normal proportions, and it was just like, okay, we're not doing that again. So yeah. So then next year came around, and one of the guys that comes here, his son was in a local band, and they would play local shows. So I'm like, "Oh, dude, we'll just see if they want to play. We'll have them come in, and we'll just do like the year-end party here." So they came in, they played, and it was like, "This is awesome. It was so much fun." So I guess in Westchester, they're really not. So as I later found out, there are like droves and droves and droves of metal bands in this area with nowhere to play. So once that happened, once we did the first one, I was like, "Oh, when you guys want to come back? We got to do this again." That was awesome. So they came back. They had this one guy come and open for them, which was just like one of the most bizarre things that I've witnessed. I don't know what music style it was or anything like that, but it was that. So I ended up getting a call from this one guy. Reached up, "Hey, you the guy who owns a gym who does metal shows?" I'm like, "Yeah. How are you?" He's like, "Say, listen, my band. I want
Kidding.
to know, like, how can we, like, what can we do to, like, play for your play there and this and so forth." So like, "Oh, cool." So we're just talking and everything. Turns out he literally rehearses like 400 feet away from the gym. So one Friday night
Oh.
after training, I just walked over there because I didn't realize this. Same landlord too, mind you. That there's like a recording studio. So these guys, so I went in there and listened to them play and everything, and they ripped. Eye Destroyer is their name. They actually them and Death Island, who's my buddy's son's band. They play Lucky 13 a lot. So
Oh, I was gonna say
yeah,
I actually have heard those names. So yeah,
Gotta
okay.
write
Do you
these
go
down.
there?
yeah. Not very often, but
Okay.
I
Oh,
have
that
lots of
place is
friends that
so
play
cool.
shows there. So yeah.
So yeah, so I had these guys come on, then I had a couple other friends. So there was one summer we had 4 bands playing, and it was incredible. It was absolutely awesome. My neck hurt for days afterwards. Like it was an incredible show. Everybody had so much fun. The bands were like, "Oh my God, we can't wait to come back." So we did a couple more, and then after that, I kind of had to tone down because it was like the building inspector was coming around and everything, and because I can't I don't know what the legalities are of anything like that. I mean, obviously I can't be charging like charging and serving drinks or anything like that. Everything has to be just, gratis, come in and enjoy the show type of thing. But somehow we made it through so far without any real issues per se. We just wanted to try to avoid them. I mean, I don't know how we did get a noise complaint. You could hear this place from very far away. So yeah, so that's how that came about. And it was just I loved it. It was so much fun.
That's
So
awesome.
we'll see. We'll see what the
Yeah.
future holds in terms of more metal fests. I gotta
Yes.
see what we can accommodate. Yeah,
Maybe we need one of these bands like during the midday intermission at States just to go right up by the podium and just start playing.
I
Like
I
that.
am I am certain that I can make that happen. If you're for real about that, I'm sure I can make that happen.
Yeah, I don't know. It sounds fun. It sounds fun. I don't know how what the hotel would think about it, but
Ah,
Yeah.
hey, they want
should be
business. It's
okay.
Binghamton, man. Come on, anything.
Yeah. We're gonna have a metal concert right in the middle of our meet.
You can do it afterwards, as like Saturday night after all the lifting. We have a show. That way, it's live acts.
We have been talking about a Saturday night social type of thing. Like we want
Oh,
to get
really?
something like that going in the future. Last year we didn't, just because we don't know what time the day is going to end.
Yeah.
So I think now that we're getting more of a rein on the schedule, if it's going to be
hmm
consistent year to year, things like that might be more of an opportunity. So
Yeah, last
would
year
be
ended really
nice.
well. We should have a good metric on that because I mean it was just like times are pretty good.
Yeah. It's just calculating those team scores took forever.
Yeah, that
Mm.
that that took forever. Brian was willing to wait. I'm like, I'm out of here. I'm going back to the Airbnb. I can't sit in this chair any
Well,
longer. I got to shower.
we'll
So
we'll have a better system this year for sure.
what's
Now
that for?
you're for the teams.
Okay.
Now your gym is awesome gym. Like when
Thank
I
you.
think about your gym, it's like if I think of like when I think of like an authentic weightlifting gym, not a
Mhm.
slight of anyone else's gym. Like I think of Danny's gym. Like your gym pops up into my head at number one because I remember
Cool.
going
I
there
appreciate that.
for Marc Chasnov's Biomechanics
hmm
of the Jerk
hmm
seminar. Great seminar. I still have my certificates. A
Excellent.
nice
Excellent.
multiple
That
certificates.
that should be hanging above you right now.
Yeah, no, I should get it right over
Oh,
there.
it's over there. Okay.
Biomechanics.
All right. That's
No,
fine.
it's not over there. Well, I
Oh,
should
it's
have it
not.
over
Come
there.
on.
Yeah, I gotta get it up there, but I still have them all. And that was the first time I saw your gym, and it's like the multiple platforms cool, but I like how everything was together, tight together. There's
Mhm.
special equipment. You guys have, I think there's stall bars on the wall
Yeah.
where you could do the
Yeah.
handstand stretching. I still tell people about those bars. I'm like, because I wish we had them. I wish we had them because they're
Yeah.
such great tool. But
They
yeah,
really are.
love your gym.
I appreciate that. Thank you. It just kind of worked out that way. I mean, I think I've always had somewhat of a, I mean, one, the space is very conducive for it. The building's an older building. I mean, there really haven't been many renovations to it or any major upgrades structurally or even aesthetically. And I don't know, probably at least as long as I've known the building, which is well over 30 years. But it's just kind of worked out that way. Then the equipment that I got and brought in, just the way I organized it, it was like just I was like, man, this really came out nicely. I had a Polish buddy who came in one time. He's like, man, this is just like the training hall in Poland. This is amazing. I'm like, cool. All right, it passed the test.
Yeah, there's a
So
feel to it. There's definitely a feel.
yeah,
When you walk in, you're like, okay, this is not a CrossFit gym. Like
hmm
I'm not walking into this is solely weightlifting. That's what we're doing
yeah.
here. The plates, the barbells, everything is all
I
weightlifting. And it's
I
got a
think
great
it's
aesthetic with the flags on the wall too.
Yes, I love the flags. Yes,
Thank
it's
you.
cool.
That started off as I just put a couple flags up that I had as just to like represent like good weightlifting countries, if you will. And then it's morphed to where and people started bringing some flags in to where now all the flags in the room were representative of those who come here. So I'll switch them around a lot, and let's say new members or people leaving, or one guy who came years ago when he was great guy, he was moving down to Virginia, so I gave him the flag from the gym and everything. So yeah, I try to base it on that. It's like it's cool. It's nice to have that little bit of like that touch and have it be more meaningful instead of just flags hang on the wall for the sake of. It's got a significance more than the flag itself.
I love
Yeah,
that. Yeah.
very cool.
Yeah,
Danny, let's talk more about coaching here. And
sure.
we'll start off with what does coaching mean to you? When you like just for you personally, like you probably like not a definition, just like what does it mean to you to be able to do this?
Mm. To be able to do it, let's say do it as a vocation, especially, it's a luxury. Uh, I mean, like I was saying earlier, there are many other things, like with the repetitive things. There are many other things that I could be doing that, I mean, it's very, to put in perspective, it's very enjoyable to be able to tell someone the same thing for months on end without having the repetition be a problem. Uh, it's nice. It's nice to be effectual. It's challenging. It's nice to be effectual to people in many ways in terms of, let's say, working with them towards goals that they have. It's nice to have an ability to be able to meet many people, meet various people at the personality that they have versus, let's say, just like being like one monolithic approach, but try to really see someone for who they are and how they are and then be able to work with them in that regard. Also, too, it's just really cool to be able to learn different people. I mean, the amount that come through the door, everyone's that's the one thing you learn and kind of, or at least how I approach is that everyone's fascinating. Everybody's got something really cool to take away from. Uh, and at least in my area, I have a lot of, especially as of recently, I think we probably have, let's see, one, two, three, anywhere from 4 to 5 doctors in some capacity that come here. So some educated people, and just like it's, I don't know, it's just really cool to have that. It's you could take a lot away from everybody. I take away as much from others, if not more, in as much as I can coach to them. So it's like it's a privilege to be able to do so.
The gym's a melting pot of
Yeah, it is.
personalities and backgrounds.
Yeah, it really is. And it's just like seeing where I align with people in terms of, let's say, interests or commonalities and how to relate and draw things from that. And I think that's helpful for being able to, let's say, develop a relationship as a coach and then communicate with them in certain ways. And just, it's always like, I don't know if this is like letting some personal secrets or things out here. When I don't like really, I really don't care for small talk with people. And in fact, I don't like talking to people in many ways. Not that sounds bad, but
No, I understand.
yeah,
I
but
understand it. Yeah, I
yeah.
understand.
But so for me, like whenever I meet someone or if I have to like interact with someone, let's say like if you're at a wedding and you're at a table with someone that you don't know, it's like I'm not saying, oh yeah, hi this, oh this your kids, blah blah. It's like I'm I'm not just going to meander about myself. I don't like talking about myself. I don't care to talk about myself. I want to find what's interesting that fascinates me about this person. So I'm just going to start digging to get that out of them because then once I find that, then I'm enthralled. Okay, I want to know more. Tell me more. How does this work? And just, I mean, selfish if you want to call it that, whatever it may be. But you know, I want to take something away from it and really be enamored. So
There's
completely
nothing
off
worse
the-
than when you ask someone like, "Oh, hey, how you doing?" Things like that, and you're trying to
Mhm.
learn about something, and then they try to checkmate you and counteract and be like, "So tell me about you." Like, no, 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 no. Like we were on to you. Like,
Oh yeah, that's I'm a I'm a master at turning it back around. So,
yeah,
like, oh yeah, I do this. So what about that? But no, it's and that's the same applies to all this. There's just so many fascinating people. So I want to let's just try to be able to learn more and gather from that, because then it's also with that as a coach, it really helps you it helps you better communicate with them, because when you can find common ground, at least I find, when you can find commonalities, common grounds, or things that interest me, I can use that to help coach them better. I can either draw analogies and try to make the analogy comparable to something that I know that they understand and I understand, or let's say in terms of explaining something, have okay, here's some you know X and I know nothing about X. If I was a beginner, how would you explain this, teach me how to do it, and then try to use that as a tool to turn around on them to get it from my perspective, or to try to somehow make it relatable to be able to better get my message across when coaching somebody.
yeah, it's a great tactic. Was there a before weightlifting, you got into weightlifting and then it just all happened very fast. You're training with Marc, all of a sudden you're signing a lease on a gym, all these things, and now you're the coach, and
Yeah.
this is your career. Like just all of a sudden, but I don't. Was there another world where like you were Danny, the accountant, or like what was just before
Ah,
there, and you're like, nope, I'm going into weightlifting. Weightlifting pulled you in.
yeah, no, that was Danny, the school teacher. So I originally went to
Okay.
yeah. So originally went to school to be a high school social studies teacher. So I was doing that for a little while. Yeah, so it just kind of it was so when I was in middle school, high school, like math and somewhat science, not so much. Really, math was like my weak subject, and it's as I later learned, I think it's just my like one, I didn't understand that I didn't have to try so hard to understand it, and two, I just didn't try hard enough. So it's a unfortunate conundrum to try to do anything with. So that in some ways, I thought that kind of precluded me when I went into college as to what I could do, because it's like, oh man, I don't want to take all these math classes. I'm terrible at math. It's too complicated. I'm not gonna be able to do this. So, but I enjoyed history classes as well. So it just kind of like morphed into that, to where I accrued all these credits. I had these credits. Now, what am I going to do? I was like, I could just get this degree, and then at the same time, a friend of mine's wife was working in a school. She's like, "Oh, you should be a teacher. You should do that. Come work in my school. You can, we'll get you subbing, and then you get a feel." So I was like, "All right, cool. Why not? Let's see what happens." So I did it, and I was like, "Oh man, it was actually a lot of fun. I really enjoyed it. I enjoyed all the kids. Enjoyed being in the school. I mean, because I don't know, it was chaos. Like, it's like this is great." So. So then go to finish my undergrad, then I go graduate, because in New York to teach you need to have a master's. So work towards that, and started working in the school, and it was just kind of like I was actually telling one of a father that comes in here this the other day, because he was asking about it, and I don't know why, like I kind of just went that direction because course credit just kind of went that way. I thought it was going to be an enjoyable thing, but then as I got there, and there's no knock on teachers or anything like that, but there was just always something that was kind of like nagging in me a little bit. There was just like, it's just like, I don't know, it's not sitting right doing this. And then one day I remember, like, I was coming out of the library, and it just hit me. I was like, no, I'm done. This is not me. It's just I can't do this. No, it's just I'm not. I'm not like these people. I need more. I need something else. So while I was doing that, I was training. I was somewhat coaching people on the side, and then it just kind of, and I didn't actively quit or anything, but that year I had I forget what year it was, but I had my leave replacement job, because it was just like out of school and trying to get
Mhm.
situated. So I had a leave replacement job. Summer came, that teacher came back, so I didn't have anything lined up. All I had was there no didn't have any interviews for teaching, so I was like, all right, let me just go full speed with training on people. So I just started emailing CrossFits like crazy, say, hey, this is somehow. I mean, I didn't even have.
Oh no.
Oh, we lost him. That
Where'd he
was
go?
a dramatic, a
I
dramatic.
know.
We'll give Danny a second to come on.
Sure.
That's still it's pretty cool. Oh, it makes sense teaching, and like I feel like you can go from teaching to coaching because you are teaching very seamlessly
Totally.
and doing seminars and things like that, or just coaching athletes.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's like the perfect segue, like the transition from that. So it makes sense. I'm not surprised when I hear of teachers becoming coaches. So
Yeah,
oh, here
and
you come.
social studies and history. there's there's so much in weightlifting, kind of like along that avenue, with
Yeah.
just the history of the sport, and you kind of have to become like a little bit of a history person to get around in here. Like there's so much to know. Like look at even just
Yeah.
being a technical official. Like there's the rules, but then there's like the history behind, well, why do we do this? There's so much that you have to know if you really want to immerse yourself.
Yeah, for sure.
Let me send Danny a quick little text here. Let's see.
Oh, there we go.
Oh, there we go.
Hey.
Sorry, someone called me and everything went mute. You can hear me, right?
Yep, we can hear you.
Okay. All right, figured it out. Yeah, so I heard what you said there. Yeah, it's so part of it. Let's say for me though, like because knowing history and applying that is incredibly helpful with lifting. But I realize it's more like because I actually saw one of the teachers, like she came in years ago, one former colleague that coming in to get carpet because she had flood damage next door. So she's like, "Oh, you should put your resume in. There are a lot of teachers retiring." And I was like, "No, I will not do that." And it was the going into business aspect and the freedom of going into business and opening and running business that it really was like, all right, this is really where I want to be. And it's in more so because it's just like especially looking back, the amount of opportunities, and this is all thankful to weightlifting too, but I mean, it really, the amount of opportunities and doors that I have gone through and had by pursuing this has been, I wouldn't have had any other way. I mean, let's say like meeting all, just a lot of the international stuff, but let's say nationally, internationally, friends, people that I've met like all over the country, as you guys know. Let's go like years ago, going to Germany and spending time out there during during the one international competition and doing commentary and like hanging out with Max Lang over a weekend type of thing. So yeah, so it's just like it's afforded so much, and it really, I mean, it kind of, I mean, to use weightlifting as a metaphor, it's what you put in. Like, will you get out what you put in? And it's just like I was willing to take a risk. I was willing to take the attempt and to do that, and because I didn't want to be bogged down or stuck in a way, or at least what I perceived as being stuck and what I thought was a better direction. And for that, it's like now. Now it's like I have all this opportunity that I've gone through and capitalized on, and then like you said, people are like, oh well, you're still teaching this. I was like, no, it's, I mean, yeah, I mean, so many ways, but in every vocation, you're a teacher because there's always someone that you're guiding through. But I think I'm probably have been far more effectual this way than I would perhaps have been any other way, because I'm doing it the way I want to do it with people that want to learn a certain way. I mean, granted, and looking back, and I'll admit, and I even tell a lot of the kids that, let's say, actually have a lot of high school kids that'll come in here or for one reason or another. And I'll just tell them all the time, like, listen, don't worry about you just got to make the college. You know, you don't have to just get through high school. The grades that you have in high school don't matter. And then like the history lesson that I'll give everybody, and this applies to everything, is just like, this is because ultimately in high school, history class and social studies boring. I mean, I get it. I like it, but it's boring, especially when some people just don't get into it. And that's fine. So the lesson that I'll give everybody is you don't need to know names, you don't need to know dates, you don't need to know places. You just need to know that every conflict in human history has been the product of either government, religion, or a combination of the two. And if you use that metric on everything, you'll understand human history and the future that we have. So that's it. Nothing else matters beyond that. So at least that's how I go about it.
You know the answers on the test now.
Yeah, it is. All right. Who's involved? Okay, check that one. So
with your coaching, what's the biggest challenge that you've had to overcome as a coach so far?
Biggest challenge. That's a great question. I guess I go back to just like lifting. It's no different than just you have to master yourself. You have to learn how to temper yourself. You have to learn how to communicate better. You have to learn how to just kind of remove yourself from yourself and try to be a little bit more objective or objective to the subject, if you will. And because I remember one time there was one guy years ago. It was to give him like a program what to do, and he was just like, oh well, I don't like this, I don't like that. Can we do this and like that? And I was just like really like, what the, what's this for? Like, and then I was like, all right, you got it, man, no problem. And it's just like, all right, and it worked out fine. And it's just okay. I need to sit back. And
It's for
actually, I think,
him. It's not for you, kind of deal.
yeah. I need none of it's about me, and that's what yeah, none of it's about me, and I had to realize that. Not that I was like making it about me in many ways. I mean, granted, yes, in some instances, because I look at it like, okay, I want these people to be better. I got to make them better. I want them to make progress. I want to go to meets, have people look good. Just do well for it. But it's like, okay, you just take a step back a little bit more. It's about them, and if I really abide by that, then everything else will fall into place and it'll work better. And I'm probably more, let's say, hands off as a coach now than I've ever been. But that comes down to, let's say, trying to, one, tailor things to each individual, and two, just recognizing that the process is a long-term process. You can't force feed people. You got to let them eat at their own pace.
Yeah. And it's going to might take them a while to finish dinner. So you just have to be patient with that.
Hey, everyone has a different size mouth and stomach, so it goes in and goes through at its own measured rate.
No, I think it's a great lesson to learn, because you could you're like, oh, well, I wrote the program. You have to do it exactly how I put this way. But maybe if you're a little more lenient on it, if you're like, it doesn't matter, like as long as you're training, next thing you know, they're on the big stage and that's what they needed. They just needed like, well, I don't. It's kind of like how you're like, I don't like math. Well, they're like, well, I don't like powers. I just want to do fulls. All right, let them do fulls. Like it. And what makes you happy? What keeps you motivated to keep doing the training? Because it's not easy to keep coming back in here.
There was a quote I saw like years ago. I saved it from David Riegert, and he was talking about when he was working with Plukfelder. And he was saying that it's very important before every session for the coach and the athlete to discuss the training program and go over the goals and objectives of it. Because as much as the coach is in control of the situation, the athlete is the only person who knows themselves the best. And they need to be able to reiterate that to the coach in order to have an effectual session. And it's like with that, it's like, I agree with that fully. And it's like, you know what, because I know there have been times where, let's say years ago when I was training with Marc, where he's watching me lift and he's like, oh, it looks good, it looks really good, you're fine. And I'm like, oh my god, like I'm on death's door. 1 more kilo and wheels are coming off the bus. I'd be, nah, you're fine, you could do it. Go up a couple more kilos and the wheels came off the bus, and I have bars flying every other direction except where it should go. So it's like, you gotta. That's something definitely to abide by. Yes, you could say it's the job of the coach to learn the personality of the person and when, let's say, they're being tepid or timid or so. But at the same time, I mean, for the most part, I don't have that trouble. Most people are intrinsically motivated. So it's just like, all right, how do you feel? How's your day? And then try to tailor things to that based upon that.
Yeah, it's a funny thing, the athletes should listen to their body and they have to learn how to listen to their body. And the coach has to learn how to, like find that information out from them, and also be able to read their athlete's body, because sometimes what you're telling me isn't really what's going on what we're seeing on the outside.
For sure. That's why I point to myself now. Be like, listen, I blew my back out because I didn't listen. We're like, look, you don't want to be like this, all right? So go home.
Yeah,
I'm telling you.
That's the fun part of having past experience. You're like, hey, use me as an example. Like
yeah, and that's it. I think I'm young enough right now to where it's still effectual to say that, instead of being like an old codger in the corner and be like, they don't know anything. Like, all right, this guy, all right, I'll listen to him. He gets it.
Yeah. Let's talk advice, Danny.
Sure.
So we'll go. we'll go athletes and then coaches, since we've been talking coaching for a little bit.
Sure.
What is some advice that you would give to what would I have here? New, current, and future athletes. So these could be three different things, or if you have one piece of advice that kind of blankets everybody, they could be just a general athlete. Doesn't have to necessarily be your athlete, unless you want to use this moment right now to be like, hey, this is what I really want everyone to do on the
Put
team.
a specific message out there.
Yeah.
One bit of just take your time. Just take your time to be present. I'd say that's the one bit of advice. No matter what or how you're doing, just slow down, cut out things if you have to cut certain things out, and just focus for a very short bit on the one most important thing, and just do it well. No matter how you do it, no matter what that may be. I would say that's probably the foremost, because let's say going further and later, as I learned, it's like even warming up with the bar can have its significance and set you up down the road. Like how you do anything is how you do everything. So if you're acute with the little details, everything else will come after. Raindrops make puddles. So don't focus on trying to dump the bucket out. Let it accumulate, and it'll accumulate pretty quickly.
Great advice.
Oh, thank you.
That applies to any level, because you
Yeah,
forget.
no, that's ubiquitous for any level. It's just temper it and just allow the little bits to be purposed, and it'll really work out.
Yeah, because there's definitely a time, when you're an athlete where like you see and you hear those messages, but then there's like this the teenage years or whatever where you're just like, yeah, I'm invincible, bam, every day, and then you start to forget those things.
Well, yeah, it's like I was like that. Like I was saying, like how I learned, I'm more appreciative of my technique in the latter years than it was the earlier years, because in the earlier years I just wanted to go heavy all the time, and it was a nut job, and I'd go lighter weights, or what were lighter, let's say. I would just be wildly aggressive and go after them, but it really wasn't attentive to how I was necessarily doing it. And later on, as I'd learned, it's like, I've really just I'm making mistakes by being aggressive that if I was attentive to in the beginning, I'd have a better understanding of how not to make them as I got heavier. So that's what I had learned. That's where, yeah,
Yeah,
that's how that carries over.
Yeah,
Always
9 times out of
carries over.
10, it's like when I have a bad session, I'm always like, it's because you didn't focus. Like I was just trying to get through it to like get home, to get back to my desk, or get back, to like cook dinner or something like that. And it's just like, it's because I was not being present and thinking about the things that my coach wants me to.
Yeah, no, it really is, and it's that goes a long way. Like that's what mistakes always have, and this is any modality. People make mistakes when they're rushing, and think about any other aspect of your life where, let's say, you want to do something quick, you're trying to do it, and you rush it. Excuse me. You end up making at least a little bit of mistake, or you come back later and be like, oh, this is a mess, I have to redo it, type of thing. So that it carries over into lifting. Well, that lifting is definitely takes that. So yeah, I would go with that for the athlete. Also too, for let's say newer athletes, I would say just do not worry about going heavy at all. Give yourself 3 months of not going heavy whatsoever, and then go from there. Because in the beginning, no matter what you may think as a strength sport or weightlifting, in the beginning your weight doesn't matter. What you're lifting is irrelevant. Focus on how you're moving and understanding a way for you to move and what it's going to take you to get granted, with good guidance, good coaching, that your coach is going to teach you what you need to feel in order to be able to move later. Because you walk before you could run. Because if you can learn how to do that properly, then anything you do thereafter is going to be a lot easier.
Avoid the instant gratification.
Yeah, and I'd say from a coach's standpoint too, avoid the temptation to want to push someone up to just give them a PR type of thing, because just for justification. I'm sure I'm still guilty of that, but I'll at least be like, all right, they look good, they can do that. I like to think that I'm at least justified, but I try to, especially with newer lifters, try to restrain them a bit, because it's the most beneficial to them. What you do in the first 3, 6, 8 months of your lifting career, is going to create the habit for the rest of your lifting life. So if you have little errors, little mistakes, you're going to spend the rest of those years always trying to correct it. If you have good habits, good fundamentals, at least from the beginning, it'll be much easier and you'll have a lot less to contend with thereafter.
Definitely. Put the
Truth.
hard work in right now, make your life easier down the road.
Yeah.
People don't see it that way. You know,
Well, because that's the thing. You look at it day in, day out, or like weekly on a weekly basis, and it's like, oh man, but weeks go slow, months go quick, years go even faster, and you have to just take that.
yeah. I try to tell some of our when we get new people, like everybody in the room has done what you're doing right now, and look at them. You know, they're looking pretty good.
Yeah.
But also there's things that they wish they would have done when they were at where you are right now that
Yeah.
would make them even better. But we didn't do that because
Mhm.
I was me back then, or they were them back then, and we were
Yeah,
together,
yeah.
and we got crazy. You know, hey, it's supposed to be this workout today, and it turned into let's max out. You know, because that's also how I used to do things
Oh yeah, me
myself.
too.
So
Oh, I mean, I remember I would be the same way, and I was like, yeah, and I still do it now. I'll be like, yeah, go up, but this is two more like advanced lifters or so. But I remember back in the days too, like training with Mark. If for whatever reason he wasn't in, his workouts that he would give us would always be light. I'd read what he had on there, and he would say like 70% this, 80% this, but somehow my eyes just saw max out everything. So yeah, it's like all right, that and it didn't work. It's like that did not work out. So I don't think I could do that again.
it happened. It's the same old story every time.
Yeah.
So how about for coaches, you know, new current coaches and current coaches, any advice for them? You're the coach of the year. So what advice do you have for the coaching community that's watching right now?
Well, I don't know if it's necessarily advice, but I would just say not I'll just explain how I go about it, and it's just my perspective of a coach, especially so so I did for a number of years, and actually partaking again now with doing Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, that's really what led me to doing weightlifting. And one of the things that I always equate weightlifting to a martial art. There's just no designated ranking system to kind of see where someone's at in terms of their development. At least in this country. I mean, Russians aside, but one of the things in jiu-jitsu they say is that the day you become a black belt is the day you start learning, and all the other belts, all the steps within like that 10-year span is just really gaining the tools to learn how to learn. So especially now, it's not that I think I'm exceptional by any regard, but I try to just, in fact, quite the opposite. And the further along that I go, I think the less and less exceptional that I may actually be. And it's just the perspective of, you know what, I know very little. And the very little that I know, while it may be worth more than the great amount that some don't know, it still is very little. And there's much more that I can gain and learn because there are far more people that have done this than I have. And there are people that have done it in different arenas, different levels, and so forth. So it's just a matter of just trying to really just be as objective as possible to my own ability and see how I can apply it. Be willing to say, you know what, I don't know. Be willing to reference other things, and and I don't shy away from whomever I can learn from and whoever can give advice. And I'm always willing and open to hear what anybody would have to say. So that's how I go about it.
I think it's a great way to go about it.
Yeah, as the years go on, it's interesting too being back like doing jujitsu again. So I did it for probably about like 5 years or so before lifting. And at least at that time, that was one of the, next to motocross, one of the longest duration endeavors that I had had. Now, fast forward here, having gone through, let's say, the better part of, what's this, probably like 13, maybe 14 years of lifting. Now, that being the longest thing, and let's say understanding, let's say, at least to this point, my complete understanding of how to lift and how I go about it. I'd like to think that it's more towards the advanced side. But like when going back to jujitsu now, and I'm looking at it and see where I am versus where black belts are, and even how the professor's explaining everything, and it's it's interesting because I see what he's saying, I see how he's doing it, but I could see that I don't have the skills to fully be able to replicate it, do it, and in some ways understand it exactly. And it's like, ah, man, shucks. Like, I actually see what I don't know, and I see that the only way that I'm going to get is just by time of doing it. It's like that's a really cool thing to see. So it's like, let's say for coaching and lifting, it's like, man, it's just keep putting in your time and just try to meet and learn from as many people as you can. Like I told this, speaking of Timmy, going back around to the beginning, when we talked about going to national meets and stuff, as I've told him, every single, and I've done countless national competitions that I've been to, every single national competition that I have been to, I've always walked away with always come back with a major takeaway of something relating to lifting or something that I had learned, whether it be from hearing somebody say something, whether it be from, let's say my buddy who brought Klokov, he competed at the American Open one year. So when I was coaching him there, it was something about the angle, how I was standing at, watching him doing it, because the jerk was the lift that I've always struggled with my whole career because of my elbows, shoulders, and even just the understanding of the lift. But just, it was, nothing was said, just watching at the angle that it was, how he did the jerk. And it just like was just blew my mind and completely changed entirely my perspective of how it was. So I was like, wow. And I came back and I was like, all right, I think I get this now. And at the time, it was like, it was great. So just talk to everybody, learn as much as you can, especially in the community. I mean, when you're at a national meet, the amount of minds and people and experience and those who have done the sport, it's like just soak it up. There's so much you can take away.
Yeah, you can get a notepad, just go around, and
Yeah.
most people are pretty friendly at those. So
Yeah.
I know people look, they got their arms crossed and they look very serious, but you could go over to most people and be like, "Hey, I'm such and such. What's up?" Or I saw your video. Can you tell me about this? And they'll talk to you.
There was one person one time and they had their arms crossed. They're standing on the corner. I was afraid to approach. And I went over and introduced myself to her. It was Sara Soto. And I was like, oh, she's not as scary as I thought she was.
Whatever. You're like Mr. Charming. Like, you're just like, hello, you're so nice. Like, I mean, that's something I just remember. I'm going off on a tangent here, but that's just something I remember about you from 10 plus years ago, having met you. And it's just like, you're so warm and kind. And it's just like, yeah. So.
Do you actually remember when we first met?
Was it a meet in Connecticut? No.
It was a meet in Connecticut. You had Randy Piper socks on, and I was like, those are amazing. I love your socks. Remember that to this day. I was like, oh my God. And then I was like, man, where's she live from? They saw you're from Brooklyn and everything. Oh, that's so cool. Like at the time, like you didn't see Roddy Piper socks anywhere. I said Roddy Piper. Sorry. Yeah. You never saw anyone wear Roddy Piper socks. Rest his soul.
I gotta find those out. I gotta find those and bring them out again.
Yeah, that was 2017. 2017 in Norwalk.
That makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that, though.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the thing. You're right, though. It's like most people are, especially at national events too. It's like, I mean, obviously, when people are focused, as we've been talking about, like, don't necessarily approach them then. But when you just see people hanging around, weightlifting people are really awesome for the, everybody. I really appreciate
the amount of friends that you have.
Yeah. It's cool. And they'll last for a long
all across
time.
The country. Yeah,
totally.
And it's something, it's like you were talking about before. It's not unique to only weightlifting, but it's a special thing that you can get out of weightlifting that maybe you wouldn't have unless you're going to social studies conferences or other things, as a teacher, So it's just a cool thing.
With weightlifting, I mean, especially for everyone who has lifted or everyone who is lifting, it's obviously you're all there for the same reasons, by default. But the thing is, at least there should be the tacit understanding and respect that you all are willing to suffer under something that's in many ways kind of really dumb to continually do day in and day out. But you understand intrinsically who the other people are and who you're dealing with, and for the most part, it's like, all right, I'm around a bunch of nut jobs like myself. This is all right. So let's talk.
Hey, your elbow hurts. My elbow also hurts. How did you do it?
My back is killing me. Yeah. When did you blow your back out? Well, that's
trading battle
a nice
stories.
Thing to share. Very much. So it's a great sport. It really is.
And there's not
It's,
many parts in life where like you could literally like meet someone for the first time and then 5 minutes later hear them in the background cheering their brains
yeah,
out for you while you go to do something. Like
yeah, no,
what a special thing.
no, it really is. It's the camaraderie of it, and it's just again, it's just there's so much to take away and so much to get out of it. And I really do contend that I'm racking my brain trying to think of any other sport, but I don't think that there is any other sport like weightlifting in the sense that it is the only. I'll make the argument that it is the only sport that it's makes it so difficult is that you have to face yourself and there's no other shield or barrier. You can't have there's no oh crap, blanket on the word. There's no other variables from another person, from a team, from anything like that. Gravity is always going to be constant, the weights are always going to be constant. So because you have that one absolute measure, you have to face yourself, and if you to sink or swim is if you're willing to face yourself, who you are, and then be able to actually push and overcome that. There's no luck involved. There's no luck because of variability. It's absolute.
Definitely.
Agreed. Yeah. Yeah.
Danny, one more question for you,
Sure.
unless other ones pop up into the head.
Oh, just a heads up, my battery might die, and I do have to get back to work soon. So if I disappear, I'm gone. But anyway,
All right.
continue.
Okay, last question.
Danny, most meaningful moment in the sport of weightlifting for you? Doesn't have to be coaching, doesn't have to be as an athlete. Could be something like kind of like in the middle, or what do you think?
Geez. Well, I did get married through weightlifting, so I mean, I guess that's always you can say that's the most meaningful. I mean, well, yeah, it is. That's the most meaningful.
Yeah.
Good,
So
good answer.
Yeah.
That's an important answer. Yeah.
Yeah, no, because you think about it, it's just like you immediately think, okay, different coaching events and everything, but it's like no, it led to the one aspect that just completely changed my life, my future, and everything else. So yeah,
Yeah. And
Hey.
you could bring it all the way back to that decision when you came out of the library. You're like, this isn't for me. Well, and then other people could freak out, be like, what am I going to do? All this. You decide to lean into the weightlifting thing.
yeah,
And then within 10 years later, your life is completely different. And look at this.
entirely, yeah, entirely, and you can't predict it or script how that would come out that way, and it's just a good series of circumstance and event, and it just led to this, and it's what we make of it.
Awesome. Well, Danny, thank you so much for coming on. It's awesome to be able to celebrate you as the coach of the year. We just lost Sara. It's interesting. We lost Sara, but the camera keeps going for a little bit. That's like a interesting thing about the
That's stored electric power.
yeah. There we go. All right. So Danny, tell us, where can people follow you? Where can they learn more about the New York Weightlifting Academy, join the team, talk to you? What's all the stuff?
Okay, so you can follow it. First off, the website, which actually new website is under construction right now, but nyweightliftingacademy.com. You can go on there and check some stuff out that we have, learn about us. Instagram at NY_weightlifting_academy. And then my personal at Danny_Casey. Facebook's on there, but you can learn all about us. Direct message me, anything you ask what you want, and I will tell you. Please come by the gym. Everyone's welcome to come by at any point in time to come train. So the doors are always open to weightlifters near and far. And yeah, that's where they can find me and get at me. So thank you. I appreciate it.
Awesome. And if they see at a local meet or a national meet, say hello.
Yeah, absolutely. I know I'm probably very intimidating and daunting, but always feel free to come up and say hi, and love to meet people and talk to more people. So it'd be my pleasure.
Awesome. Danny, well, congratulations again on being Coach of the Year, and thank you so much for coming on. I will be seeing you in May at Joe Ross meet.
I'm looking forward to it. So thank you for having me. I appreciate the accreditation of Coach of the Year. It's a really a good accolade to have, and I'm looking forward to continuing to honor that.
Definitely. Awesome. Thank you, Danny. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we will be back soon with another episode. I just got to talk to Sara about what that'll be.
Thank you very much.